So let's talk, man. So apparently, I put it on the screen. I read an article from NFL Inside. I forgot I read it earlier this morning. I was gonna try to get it from the desk, but that didn't happen. So well, yeah, let's talk about Maxx Crosby. They revealed the asking price. It's not 2 1s. Let's talk about it. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. So it's actually, I'll tell you the suspense. First and the second round pick they asking for. I'm not sure if you can, first this year, second next year, or first and second this year. From what I understand, the Lions may be eligible for a fifth round compensatory pick. I know they missing some middle picks. I don't know which ones. I think it might be a third or a fourth for both. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Just talking about like before I get into this video, like the overall health of the roster as we know it. Some guys can be gone. A lot of these veterans a lot of these veterans might be gone. It's questions about Kirby Joseph. You know what I'm saying? Questions about Brian Branch. You do got the young safety. I like him a lot. I think with more PT, he'll be better. You can count on him. But then you might get rid of Meek. You don't know whatever you're gonna get from Ennis, what you're gonna get from or Ennis Rackstraw or Terrion. You don't know what you're gonna get from them. There are also people talking about they shouldn't bring back Roxanne and Avonte Maddox, which I think is crazy because a lot of times, I think they were solid last year. Given the fact that the D line, they got solid pressure, wasn't great. Then you got some people having concerns. They was looking at linebackers at the Senior Bowl with Derek Barnes, where I don't have an issue with the linebacker. I don't really care. People the linebackers are back. Yeah, that's because your starting safeties are gone. If your safeties come back healthy next year, you ain't got to worry about Derek Barnes in coverage. Like they struggle versus the tight end because you don't have Brian Branch to cover those tight ends and Kirby Joseph to do what he do. So that's that. A lot of we draw issues with Derek Barnes. I'm not, he's this and he's that and he's like, I'm not worried about that. Those safeties is going, if they can get those safeties back, I'm more concerned about the safeties. But overall, there's questions on the D line, there's questions on the cornerbacks, questions at safety. Your biggest questions at safety defensively. So how you going to cover all of that? You know what I'm saying? And then offensively, where your problems lie at. You have some people that think they need a linebacker. A tight end, another tight end. I don't think so. Well, Drew Petzing, he likes to run too tight. Drew Petzing is going to run with the Lions personnel until gives him the run. Does anybody listen to what or even watch what he did in Arizona? Did anybody even pay attention to that? I'm starting to think that people didn't pay attention to what he did in Arizona. He used what he had, whether it was spreading it out and throwing the football around, a little mobile quarterback, or playing power football. However you go, he's gonna do what they do best. Brock Wright is fine, and as long as Sam Laporta come back healthy, I'll put too much emphasis on the fucking tight end. Now, I think the emphasis pretty much comes in if you don't sign Sam Laporta. You know what I'm saying? If you don't bring back Sam Laporta, I get that, finding another tight end. Center, guard, left tackle, however you want to look at it. You need two guards in the left tackle. You need a center, guard, left tackle. However you look at it, that's where the bulk of your money gonna go to. I'll tell you that right now. Let's just say hypothetically they take the center and they feel comfortable doing that. Then realistically, let's say in another great case scenario, even though as men, we live in worst case scenario, they find Taylor Decker come back for 1 year, right? You keep Manu Giovanni, you keep Miles Frazier. Realistically, they're probably going to draft a tackle that can play left tackle. They're going to play him at guard. So right then and there, you're going to get a tackle that play guard. You got to have a guard that's going to be a left tackle. You're going to have a center that you hope that's, turn out at center and Tate Ralitch. Then you're going to have another guard at left guard that you hopefully Christian Mahogany you can count on. But if I'm a betting man, if Tate Ralitch, this is gonna be confusing. If let's just say Tate Ralitch stay at center, Mahogany gonna move to right guard. That new guard who probably gonna be a left tackle in waiting is probably gonna play left guard. So really much you really looking at the offensive line. I think they probably gonna pay somebody to come in and play a line position. If that's the case, they're gonna pay a center, draft a tackle, take the left guard, move Mahogany to right guard, and they're gonna draft a young tackle prospect, and he gonna be in the wings waiting. So when you talk about giving up that first and second for Maxx Crosby, it's how much money can you make work for you in the places that you're missing. So most of that money and some of that compensation, it got to go to the offensive line. So you give up a first and a second this year, right then and there, they go your tackle right there. There's your tackle right there. But if you can give up a first this year and a second next year, or second next year and a first or second this year and a first next, you can get a tackle. But you got to get a tackle. So my thing is, could you end up with a tackle and a pass rusher that you love? I think you could. Therefore, you probably don't look to go out there and get a you don't look to go out there and get Maxx Crosby. I think that's what they're gonna roll with. Maybe if the Bengals don't tag Trey Hendrickson again, you can get Trey Hendrickson. But I think they're gonna find this seem to be a pass rush deep draft. Don't be surprised if they don't use some whatever they got left to move up in the draft to get a guy that they want and still get a tackle or a defensive end on the end. But I think the more pressing thing is somebody that can rush the passer on the inside. I think they got to find that. But I think they feel like they can slim down Tyleik Williams, Aleem McNeil, return to form next year, and they'll be fine there. Anzarike will be back. Hopefully they just cut him. Josh Pascal will be back. Hopefully they just cut him. But yeah, to be honest, I mean, in theory, we would love for it to happen. But actuality and reality, I think what's best for the Detroit Lions is to focus on Tate Ratledge is the first thing that you're looking at. Do we center him or do we left guard him? That's got to be the question. If we put him at center, we can save that money, move Mahogany to right guard, draft the tackle. If Taylor Decker come back, play that tackle at left guard, Taylor Decker at left tackle. When Decker out, that kid kicks the left tackle. Frazier or Manu Giovanni kick the left guard or whatever, however they want to do it. But in reality, if you keep Tate at left, let's move in the left guard. We got to pay a center. But then if Taylor Decker retire, you drafting the tackle that got to step in and play left tackle now. And then you got a decision to make. Do we sign a veteran guard? Do we make Miles Frazier the guard and draft? This is the offensive line question is going to determine how they can deal with those picks. So let's just say realistically, they take the right guard center, right? They move Mahogany to the right guard, right? Let's say hypothetically they sign a nice left tackle prospect, right? And they get a guard later in the draft and they put Frazier, Mahogany, Tate, Sewell, and a new left tackle they pay big money or traded for. Okay, cool. You have a little bit more, to play with. But honestly, they just have so many holes. I just don't think, Miles Crosby, if they can get a solid pass rusher in a draft and a tackle with their first two picks, that's the way you go rather than giving them up for Maxx Crosby. So to protect Jared Goff and to help Aiden Hutchinson, one just helps Aiden Hutchinson. I think for the most part, they're going to use their picks to help Jared and Aiden in the first two rounds. But hey, who knows, man? Thumbs up. They might draft a tight end in the first round. Hit the link in the description. Follow me on X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, the whole nine. Everything inside the link tree is the first link in the description. Peace.